welcome back to Current Talk Podcast. I'm Cameryn.
And I'm Faith. And today we have a special guest, Sarah-Lynn Pauleus. Did I say your last name right, Pauleus?
It's okay, yeah.
Okay. She is a blog editor for Apexways and Living Sisu, so much to talk about there. So now I'm going to hand it over to Sarah so she can introduce herself and shout out her social media.
So thanks, girls, for having me. I'm so happy and proud to be on your podcast. So as Faith said, I'm Sarah. I'm 23 years old, and I'm the blog editor for Apexways and Living Sisu. And you can find my socials on Instagram, Sarah-Lynn.97, and on Facebook too. So that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining us today. We're very excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. So our first question we have for you, Sarah, is tell us about your experience being a blog editor and what tasks does it entail, and do you work in a team?
Okay, I love your questions. So I'm gonna explain you guys how I became a blog editor for Apexways and Living Sisu. So, when I was about 10 years old, I started watching hockey because of my cousin who would play at the time. So I actually did my first interview with him, and I still have that interview in my basement. And it was at that time that I knew that I wanted to work in this field. And for hockey, I actually knew all the players, all their stats, all their team. So my parents were starting to get they were panicking because hockey was taking too much space in my life. So I got punished. And I wasn't allowed to watch hockey. I wasn't allowed to watch hockey from Monday to Thursday, and I was only able to watch on the weekend. And per season there's 82 games, so I would watch 10 games. But until this day, I think I've been watching 5 games per year. So in 2017, I went on a missionary trip with La Bible Parle and in Haiti, and that's where I met Miguel Marcoux, who's the founder of Apexways. And we just had a great bond on the trip and stuff. So I actually told my friends that I don't know why or when, but I'll be working with this guy eventually. And at the time, I didn't know about anything about Apexways. So in February 2020, he started his business and he was looking for someone to speak with professional athletes and to write on them, and I took this leap of faith, and here I am today for Apexways.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love how you just emphasize the whole importance of connection, how you met Miguel in Haiti and how he kind of started this company and he was able to offer you a position to, help talk to several athletes. And for you, that was something that you had even before you came because you knew all these hockey players and hockey is such a big thing in Canada. I remember I remember when I used to live in Canada for a couple of years, I went to my first hockey game. I've never been to I believe any game ever. It was my first game where I was present, and it was just such a good time. But it's amazing how your journey, through that and how you got the job that maybe you didn't really envision it, but it was something that you enjoyed and you loved doing. So I love that.
Yeah, I definitely think that is so good, and especially making connections these days. I'm sure we've all heard many, many times, not just in school, but outside of school, that networking is everything these days, and going after resources, advice from people, that's really going to make or break not just your experience, but just your overall career. So I definitely agree with you that networking is everything for
It
sure.
is, yes.
Yeah.
And for Living Sisu, that's a funny story. I was on my couch on Instagram listening to one of their IG lives with Anthony Duclair, who's actually a hockey player. And I told myself, well, let me just listen to the live and see how it goes. And it was actually an amazing live. So I texted Zach Fukale, who was doing the live for Living Sisu, to tell him that I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't expecting him to answer me that quickly. And I think he answered like 15 minutes after I texted him, and I was so happy. So
Oh
like
wow.
it really so I asked him for an interview, and he said yes right away. So 2 days later we had the interview, and
Yeah.
it was amazing. And in August 2020 I went on a trip with my best friends, and I think like three days later, I got a text from Zach, who was wondering if I wanted to be the editor for the Living Sisu and join the team. And I said yes right away. And I started crying because it's something
Yeah.
that I really wanted to do for so long. So, and I'm just really blessed to be a part of this team because I just love the guys and their girlfriends, and they're just amazing, and they're big brothers and big sisters to me. So I really love them, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you still emphasize like the whole connections thing and how social media can also play into it too. Because
Mhm.
like one of the big reasons why you got involved into that company was through social media and the
Mhm.
fact that you responded to something that was happening within the company. So I really love that. But like going kind of off of that, tell us about the two companies that you blog about. I know that you talked a little bit about both of them, and but like maybe give us a little bit more information too, because they seem like two great companies, and maybe like talk about how they might be similar, might be different.
Yeah, so for Apexways, it's a company that is specialized in the design of sports ready to wear. And
Mhm.
the company launched its first very men's collection in October 2018. And what's amazing about the company is that they donate 5% of their profit to three organizations. So the first one is a
Hmm.
yeah, it's really amazing. So the first one
Yeah.
is a humanitarian aid in Haiti, where Miguel and I went. And then there's
Yeah,
one that's called Campuman region in Africa, and the last one is multiple sclerosis. So that's for Apex
yeah,
Ways. And for Living Sisu, it was founded by three goaltenders: Olivier Gervais, who's the founder, and then there's Zach Fukale, Alex Atsaidis, and they're like my bosses, the three guys. And so they actually
yeah,
want to help people activate their lifestyle by three pillars. So the first one is to learn, where I work with the blog. You can find some podcasts, you can find some courses as well. And then the second pillar is access, where people can find some promotions and discounts with various partners. And the last one is activate. The guys do a lot of events and tournaments to help people get moving. So for Apex Ways, I write about athletes and their career. And for Living Sisu,
mhm.
I talk about different activities that people can do, like going to hike, running, and other stuff like that. And I forgot to mention that I actually write the articles in French and in English. So I have my
Oh wow.
parents, yeah, so I have to write in both languages, but yeah, it's amazing. So I have my
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my parents who help me in French, to correct the articles.
Mhm.
And in English for Apexways and Living Sisu, I have my best friend Katie who helps me. And for Living Sisu only, I have a hockey player who is in France right now. He's currently playing in France, so he's a great helper.
Wow, that's amazing. I love how you have like a support system, with like your parents and your friends. I really
Mhm.
love that. And I also love like the like companies that you talked about and how they're inspiring and impacting people's lives, especially
Mm.
with like Apex Ways and like how they give back to charities in Haiti and Africa. For me, like being a Haitian, like that just, makes me want to look at the company and maybe like buy some of their products because like if
Mhm.
they're, supporting like people in Haiti and like Africa and also like in other ways, like I want to be a part of that. And like also I also love companies overall that just like give back a portion of their proceeds to things that really do matter and stuff. So I'm
Mhm.
all for that. So I really enjoy that. What about you, Cam?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I really think that, especially with a lot of like companies that we shop from on a regular basis, like Walmart, Target, even though they're really big, um, what's the word, franchises, I
Mhm.
really think that there should be an initiative towards whatever percent of the profit that they make can go towards like a charity or a foundation, because we look at these corporations and the CEOs and all this money that they're making, and
Mm.
yes, it does sometimes go back to us, but then not fully the way
Yeah.
that I guess it could go back. And then also kudos to you, Sarah, for
Yeah.
like being able to write both in English and French.
Oh my
I am still trying to learn like Spanish, and I can barely write like a paragraph in Spanish. So kudos to you. That is
God.
awesome.
Aw,
That
thanks,
is
girl.
definitely, yes,
Yeah.
that is definitely really, really awesome. I am still working on learning just other things besides English, uh, let alone writing like whole entries in a different language. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah.
But our next question we have for you, Sarah, is what are things that you have learned so far from blogging that you maybe didn't know before?
Hmm. That was a good question. I had to like think about for a while. I would say that you have to read a lot, and my parents are gonna be surprised I'm saying this because I don't like to read. I'm not a big reader. At the beginning of the year, actually, I told my mom that I was going to read a book or two per month, and we're in March, and I haven't even started one book.
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah, I
But like
feel
I have
that.
to put myself to read a book, but you have to read because you have to get some inspiration, and people don't want to read the
Yeah.
same things over and over again. So that's what I actually
Hmm.
learned. And you also have to be up to date with everything that's going on uh, in the world. So I would say that's what
Yeah.
I've learned.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I agree with that with the whole reading thing as well. Because for me, like I made a plan this year that I was gonna read
You
at least a book every month, and it is March,
see?
and I have still not finished the book that I started to read. So, but I noticed that the books that I'm really interested in is like inspiration, motivation books, um,
Okay.
books that kind of help you improve your life and make your life
Mhm.
more efficient. So I'm really into those books. And I do follow a lot of YouTubers as well that give recommendations on books like that. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm really into those type of books. I used to be into Star Wars comic books, which I still am, but I'm also open to like other types of genres too. So I think that's amazing that you stated that it's one of the things that you learned is like to read, and even though it's hard to read, which I feel that like sometimes I'd rather listen to 4 hours of music, but so I
Yeah.
get into
Yeah,
the
me too.
mode. Yeah.
I rather listen to, because I'm a singer too, so I rather like listen to music like for all the day than to read a book and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I have that like desire to read the book, but like I can't like for the life of me just like sit down and actually read it. Like
Yeah,
I think about
me too.
reading it and all that I can learn, but it's hard for me to sit down. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but that's
I'm
just
like this.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I also love how you touched on learning about what's going on in the world because that's also
Mhm.
really important. I feel like um for a lot of people, they like to be kind of ignorant about what's going on. And like sometimes there is, positives to like being ignorant, you don't have to deal with a lot of stress going on in the world. But I also think pick like maybe a topic that you
Mhm.
enjoy or really focused on and learn about what's going on in that specific area. Because there's, things are evolving, every day.
They
And
are.
it's nice to like hear, more information, more perspectives about certain things. So
Mhm.
kudos to you for that. And like that, like that's great advice, especially for,
Yeah.
just like someone who maybe isn't a blog editor, but
Mhm.
can really use that advice to their advantage too.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially going back to that reading. Like, I feel like college has ruined my passion for reading.
Yep.
Because it's
Ah,
now, I
college.
feel, right, because it's now that when I have to read something, I feel forced to read. Because, like, you
I
have
feel
to
you
do
guys. I
it.
understand you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you're not reading for enjoyment, you're
Yeah.
reading for the information to then
Mm.
do an assignment. And yeah, so really I honestly and this is really sad. I honestly can't remember the last time I've read a book for pleasure
Yeah.
because everything that I've read for school has just been for an assignment,
Mm.
um, or just to get information for something school related. So yeah, I really do think that like once we all get out of school and everything, and we won't really have to read for assignments and stuff, I really think that picking up a book and just reading for enjoyment will be much easier because
Um,
I
I do not like
definitely understand you guys because I'm still in school. I have
yeah.
a
yeah.
semester left, and
Oh
I just
Mhm.
can't
wow.
wait to finish.
Yes.
I.
I like congratulate you on your last semester. Like that's a huge deal. Like I remember
Oh,
my
thank
first
you.
semester. Yeah. Like I remember my last semester of high school, honey. I was ready to get out of there and go to college.
Yeah.
But honey, like
Yeah.
when I'm in my last semester, hopefully of nursing school,
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm gonna be so happy. Even though I'm probably gonna go to
Yeah.
graduate school, but
Mhm.
I'm excited for you, Sarah. I'm
Oh,
excited
thank
for
you
like
guys.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the opportunities that are ahead of you. And yeah, like going back to like what Cam said about the whole like, book assignment thing. Like and it's not just like the like reading also, makes reading less enjoyable,
Mhm.
for pleasure, but also the fact that it takes up time. Because I notice
It
when I read
does.
Oh, yes.
like these professors like assign like a 50 pages of reading every week and I'm just
Mm.
like
Yes.
what's going
Oh my
on here? Like
gosh.
I can't read,
Yeah. Like, who
pleasure.
has time for that? Like, we have other classes to worry about.
That's so true. That's so true. But yeah,
Yeah.
going on to our last question.
Mhm.
So we know that Black History Month ended a couple days ago, and in honor of Black History Month, have you done any posts in celebration of Black history that you would like to share? I did, kind of go on the Apex Ways website, and I did
Uh-huh.
see some tribute to I believe Black athletes that you done. So do you want to talk about that? You want to share other projects that you've been working on for Black History Month?
Yes. So on Apexways, I wrote on two three black athletes.
All
Um
right.
Boko Imama, who's a hockey player, Gabby Leia 3, who's a basketball player, and Kevin Foster Verde, who's actually Anthony Duclair's cousin, but he plays football. So I wrote about them. But that wasn't for Black History Month. I written these articles a few months ago. And for Black History Month, actually, I wrote on Living Sisu. You guys can go and check that out. I wrote about 10 Black athletes that amaze us and that are the pride of the Black community. So you can find the article on livingsisu.com.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm gonna
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I love how, you're highlighting these Black athletes who have
Mm-hmm.
contributed so much and represented, the Black community in like so many ways. And we need that, we need
Yes,
Black
we do.
representation. And not just
Yeah.
Black representation, but like good Black
Mm-hmm.
representation. Because I
Yep.
know there's some, people that, may be representative of the Black community, but may not be the most positive
Mm-hmm.
influences. So it's good to have like good Black influences, especially in a society that has a lot of
Yes.
negative like stereotypes towards Black people. So
Yes.
I really appreciate what you're doing and how you're celebrating Black History Month when talking about different athletes that are changing the game, where they're
Mm.
at, and just really being successful, and passionate about what they do. So I thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh,
Well, that is all of the questions we have for you, Sarah. Thank you so much again for joining us today and recording with us.
Well, thanks to you girls. I'm gonna come back another day. I love you too.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. We would definitely love to have you again sometime soon on the podcast. This was awesome.
It was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you.
And to anyone that's made it this far in the episode, thank you guys so much for listening to yet another episode of Current Talk Podcast. We really appreciate all your support. I will have all of Sarah's information to where you can find her blog and her social medias in the description of today's episode. So definitely go check her out and show her some love there. And as always, if you have any podcast topic ideas or if you just want to add to the conversation, feel free to DM Faith and I at our personal Instagrams or on Current Talk Podcast on Instagram. Or you can reach out via email, which is this currenttalkpodcast@gmail.com. And also, as always, we will have a new episode up a week from the day you're listening. So next Wednesday. So definitely come back next week for a new episode. And with that, we're going to end the recording here. Thank you guys so much for listening again. And we will talk to you guys in our next episode of Current Talk Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.